Welcome to X-Wing Strategy Tips. My name is Nick Zabicki, and I'm making these videos based on the game X-Wing. This is by Fantasy Flight and was published in 2012. There are a couple reasons why I'm making these videos. The first of which is I first went to look on YouTube, and I was playing a couple games of X-Wing and said, oh, I wonder if people are making some strategy videos because this game seems pretty deep. And went on YouTube and found very little other than sort of your basic introduction to the game, how to play kind of videos. And I'll mention right here that if you don't know how to play X-Wing or you've never heard of it, I'm going to suggest that you go watch one of those videos first before you watch these strategy videos, because they have a little bit more context for the game. The second reason why I'm making these videos is that I kind of feel like this game has a lot in common with one of my most favorite games, actually probably my most favorite game, which is the game of Go. They're both games that take place on a two-dimensional surface that both require a lot of thinking about efficiency and positioning and proximity to your opponent in terms of your pieces on the board. And I think there's a lot of parallels that we can draw and learn from playing Go and applying it to this game. So I think there's some deeper connections there that I hope to want to talk about. And the third reason why I want to make these videos is just, quite frankly, I think this game is a lot of fun. Even if you don't really like Star Wars, I mean, it is Star Wars, so if you like Star Wars, this is amazing. But even if you don't like Star Wars, the game is just a lot of fun. You and your opponent just kind of chase each other around the table, and you're flying these little ships. And I mean, I have some friends who say, "Oh my God, it's they're just in love with it." But it's just a lot of fun, and I enjoy playing it, and I hope I'll enjoy making some videos about it. So, without further ado, I want to start this first video with a topic about, we'll call it flying in formation. If you've never heard of this, you've played X-Wing before, this is a really good place to start learning some basic strategies, because if you can't fly in formation in this game, you're going to have a hard time focus firing on any of your opponent's ships or making the best use of your own squadron. Alright, so I've just sort of put together here a 4 TIE Fighter squadron. On the top left here we have an Academy pilot, then a Black Squadron pilot on the right, and then Backstab on the left and Dark Curse on the right. Ideally, if we were flying a tight formation like this, we'd probably want Howl Runner or somebody like that that gives bonuses to the whole squadron. Again, this isn't a real game, we're just doing this for demo purposes. But this is a very common situation that new players find themselves in, is that they figured out that, when they're building their squadron, they want to keep their ships close together, that way they can focus their fire. The enemy ships may not be able to withstand a heavy barrage of shots coming from one place, so there's a definite advantage to doing this. But when it actually comes time to fly the ship around the board, we have some problems. So here, let's look at one of the most common problems that we see. And let's say this squadron is pursuing, let's just add an X-Wing somewhere over here. And let's say the X-Wing, I don't know, he's just there right now. We want to chase the X-Wing. So these players go, aha. What I need is to do a soft 2 turn right towards the X-Wing. And they go one by one, they plan their dials and plan their movement, and I'm doing this out of order. I should have moved number 1 first. Oh, let's do that. Let's do it in the correct order. Might as well. If you're learning the game, you should learn how to do things first. Academy pilot has a pilot skill 1, so they move first. And they go right there. And then this player takes their Black Squadron pilot and goes, oops, crashes right into that Academy pilot, as you can see. So this is a very basic lesson that hopefully you've learned just from playing the game, is if you have 2 ships side by side, like we did here, and you're planning your movement such that they're both just going to do a soft bank in one direction or the other at the same distance, they're going to crash, right? There's no way that they're not going to crash. So how do we prevent this? Well, easy way is whenever we're banking like this, basically as long as we use 2 different values for our banking turn here, i.e. we have a 1 bank on the inside and a 2 bank on the outside, we're actually going to work just fine. Alternatively, it also works if you want to bank 1 on the outside and 2 on the inside, but that's a different type of maneuver. But let's just try it. Let's just make sure that this works. So let's say it's planning phase and you plan for your whole squadron. These guys are going to bank 1s and these are going to bank 2s. Let's see what happens. So we'll place that there. It moves up. Oh, I did this out of order again. I have to stop doing that. Oh gosh. Don't hold the TIE fighters by their little TIE heads. And I had a little bit of a bump there, but I don't think I lined it up very well. That shouldn't bump. Here, let's try that one more time. Let's do it in the correct order. It's actually, I'm also trying to work around the camera and the microphone here, and it's a little more challenging of a setup. So put that there, and you see I just bumped that fighter too. I'm so clumsy at this game. You cannot be really clumsy and play TIE Fighter squadrons like this. There we go. Look, no crashing. It's beautiful, and that X-Wing is now right in front of us. Perfect. Let's move the back row now. Let's try doing the same thing. So we're going to move Dark Curse, and whoops! What happened there? Well, same problem. Just like how when we have a squadron like this, and we can't use the same number from going for side-by-side pilots, we also can't use the same number coming from the back to the front. Otherwise, they will crash. And you might ask, well, it doesn't make sense. If they both move the same exact amount, shouldn't they both just be transposed up and no crashing? Well, you would think so. There it is again, just to show you that they still crash. But just by adding just a little bit of rotation, we actually are covering a larger surface area, vertically speaking. If they just move straight forward, you're right, transposition works fine. We can always display the same number and no one will crash. But when we're using these bank turns, because we're rotating, we have to be very careful about using the same number when we're very close side by side or very close front to back. So here we have a better solution. Is basically when we're going front to back, we can use one value less than the previous, or than the ship ahead of it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this guy go 2 forward. We know that if we want this outside not to crash, we need to go 1 higher. So he's going to go 3 forward. And actually, we're going to crash into this X-Wing. Looks like just might make it. We'll see. We'll see. Actually, I think we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine. And then we're going to have this back person go 1. And this backstabber go 2. So let's try it. Let's try to do it in the correct order and without me knocking over anything or anybody or moving the ships around. Oh gosh, there we go. There goes the ship. Right there. Looks like we're hot on his tails. And hopefully my head's not in the way. There we go, move that. Oh, just move the guide. Oh, damn it. Well, right about there. That didn't crash either. Same thing. Let's move Dark Curse first. We're just going to go forward 1. That's nice, and that's still within the firing arc. And we'll move Backstabber. And we'll go 2. And we know that won't crash into Dark Curse because that's 1 higher. And very nicely done. We now have all 4 of our ships still able to fire on that Rebel ship. Pretty nifty. So, here's the short one. We're using these bank turns. You can't use the same number. Okay, this is your big tip. If you're side by side, you have to pick a different number, and be very careful of making sure your back does not overshoot your front. So if I pick a 1 with the front, you can't pick a 2 at the back, because I'll put the back ship right on top of the front ship. All right, I want to take a little intermezzo here and talk about ship base length and flying straight. As we've noticed, if we have 2 pilots that are flying, they can both go the same distance and not have to worry about crashing, assuming that they have the same size base. If we're flying a big ship behind a little ship, this is going to crash every time. But 2 little ships, that'll never crash, as you can hopefully see there on the camera. But how far do you want to move? Well, you're not allowed to measure during the game exactly how far your ship can move, right? You have to sort of eyeball it. But if you haven't figured this out yet, you will notice that the 1 unit is equal to about 1 ship length. So you can see here, this 1 is about the same length of the base as this TIE fighter. I think you can see that in the camera. And 2 is actually equal to 2 bases worth of ship length, just about. When you put them side by side, they do have little nubby things on it, so let me actually go this way. That should equal 2 a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see that. There we go. So 2 is equal to 2. And likewise, 3, 4, 5. So this is really important because if you have a TIE fighter or somebody you don't want to crash into over here, and you want to fly this way and you want to know how far you can just go straight without crashing, well, you're still not allowed to measure, but since you know how large a ship base is, let's put that right there, for instance, you can sort of eyeball it, right, and go, oh, if I go 2 here, I got at least 3 ship bases away, so 2 is safe, 3 is not. And if we bear this out using your magical ability to eyeball things now based on the distance of your or number of ship lengths away, you can see that we did indeed come right up to that ship without crashing into it. So just knowing that one ship base is equal to 1 will give you a much better guide when you're actually flying around the galaxy. All right, we've talked a little bit about straight turns and banks now, but let's talk a little bit more about hard turns. Hard turns are similar to banks in the sense that it's very easy for newbies to make mistakes when they're playing, because they'll often think, hey, just like a bank, if this guy turns 1, all I have to do is have this guy turn 2 and everybody is fine, right? So they've learned their banking maneuver, but I think you can just see from where these two ships are going to end up. They're going to end up overlapped and just crashing into each other. Here, and I'll move it to confirm. So there's our Black Squadron pilot, and here comes our Academy pilot. Yes, I know Academy should move first. And bam, crash. You just crash into yourself. If you haven't, I know we didn't talk about any of the rules in X-Wing, of course, but there's really 2 bad things that happen when you crash, but the most important of which is that you don't get your action anymore. So our Academy pilot can no longer take an action this round because he's too busy worrying about crashing into his little friend. So anyway, here's the moral of the story. When we want to bank 1 and on the inside and bank 2 on the outside, it's glorious. It works beautifully. But when we want to hard turn 1 on the inside and hard 2 on the outside, it's a train wreck. However, we should point out that if we hard 2 on the inside and hard 2-1 on the outside, this is fine. And we will demo this right here. So squadron moves there. Whoops. Try not to move my minis, but too late, I guess, for that. And I broke my TIE fighter. This is not a good game for clumsy people. I have to lament that. And there we go. So we have our 2 TIE fighters, no crashing. That was with a 2 on the inside and 1 on the outside. But that's not what you wanted. What we really wanted, right, was this whole squadron to just go and turn that way. Just keep itself in that square diamond shape. How do we do that? Well, it depends on how we want to order the squadron, because there's actually 2 good ways we could do it. One thing that we couldn't do with the banks is we couldn't do a soft 2, or any soft bank for that matter, on the inside and a soft bank on the outside. That doesn't work. But with hard turns, it totally does. But I want you to witness the orientation of the ships after I do this. So here, check this out. We have Academy pilot here. We have our Black Squadron pilot here. We have Backstabber, and we have Dark Curse. Okay, so 4 different pilots. Let's have them all do some hard 2s and see what happens. So start with the, whoops, I just moved the mini. Oh gosh. Again, I'm kind of off balance here, trying to stay out of the way of the camera, but all right, so let's move our Academy pilot, hold our guide down. Academy pilot goes there. All right, Black Squadron, now we have Academy pilot in the way. So this is, here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna mark Academy pilot like so. I'll just leave that there. I should have probably put the Academy pilot on the inside just to save myself a little bit of aggravation. You can see that this 2 actually just clears where that Academy pilot was. You can see that the ship goes beyond it. So Black Squadron is going to fly through Academy pilot and go right in front of Academy pilot without touching. We can actually put our Academy pilot back where I just put that little guide. Okay, let's move Dark Curse. Backstabber and Dark Curse are both numbered 6, so I can move them in any order, which is convenient. And Backstabber. Alright, so I hope that's still on the camera. I think that's close to the edge of the screen, but hopefully you can still see that we are flying in a beautifully tight formation. That is just glorious. If an X-Wing were to come right into the middle of that, it would just get the snot shot out of it. But hopefully you noticed the subtlety. When they all did hard 2s, even though everyone was completely safe, there were no overlaps, no crashes, we did have the new ordering to our pilots, because now we have Academy pilot, who was in the front left, is now in the back left. And the Black Squadron pilot, who was in the front right, is now in the front left. The Dark Curse, who was in the back right, is now in the front right. Again, front being this way now because we're facing that direction. And the Backstabber pilot is now in the back right. So we do have an entirely new configuration. We have to be very careful of this for future moves because we're going to be moving in a different order. We don't want to move a back pilot first where the front pilot is going to end up, or vice versa, although there are good ways to avoid that. I want to show you guys another way to basically open up your squadron, and often, you know, this isn't necessarily the as useful as this all hard turning 2 or hard turning 3, but it definitely has its moments, especially when you want to get all within a close range to an opponent, or focus fire on a ship and then break off. It can be very useful, or it can be also very useful for blocking purposes too. So here's how this one works. First, instead of all moving with the same number, we're going to take our first Academy pilot and move them 3. Put them right there. And then we're going to move our Black Squadron pilot and move him 1. And you can already see something is very different this time. Before, when we just moved 2, both of these ships actually came up more front to back to each other. But now, by moving this inside 1, 1 and this outside 1, 3, we're actually still parallel. So that's pretty cool. Second thing is we're going to take these 2 ships, and they'll just move up 1, 2, or do a hard 1 rather, like so. And you can see that we've definitely broken our formation here. But if, let me move this a little bit closer just for demonstration purposes, if that rebel ship was actually right there, this has been a great time to break out, because now, as you can see, if we take the range ruler, we've got 3 ships firing at range 1, whereas if we only did a hard turn, all hard turn 1 with all of them, we'd only have essentially 2. Now, you could correct me and say, well, if we all did a hard 2 maneuver with all the ships, we would be, we'd have actually all the ships firing range 1. But the problem with this, of course, is your opponent's probably flying in a squadron 2. I know that's not a rebel ship, but let's just put it there. And if there was a ship in the way who's going to block us, obviously we don't want to do a range 2 this way. So this is a way to sort of spread, to get out of your really tight formation to more of a spread formation, moving the inside ships 1 and one of the outside ships 3. Notice that we couldn't do Dark Curse by 3 because he would actually end up where the Black Squadron pilot is, and he would crash right into him. But all things else being equal, we were able to get 3 ships into range 1 of the ship we wanted to fire at without actually going too far forward and potentially crashing into the opponent's squadron. This is another cool technique. Again, when you're flying your squadrons, when doing a hard turns, you're probably going to find that doing a same hard 2 maneuver with all your ships is going to work just beautifully 80% of the time. But for those instances where you do want to sort of open up and really just fire, moving your inside ships 1 and your top outside ship 3 will all get them in a nice firing arc like that. So the last thing I want to talk about in this video is flying ships in formation that are of different size. And first I want to point out again just how we noticed that the standard base ship is size 1, the standard large base ship is actually size 2. And the mistake here that a lot of beginner players make is they assume, hey, I can move both these ships 1 and they'll still be in formation. So let's try it and see what happens. Whoops, I just bumped that mini. I really need to do this on my other table, I think. All right, so we both moved each ship 1. And you can see that before, when they both had an even firing line out in the front, our Slave 1 ship has actually gone 1 unit ahead of our Black Squadron pilot. And if we do this again, I think the effect becomes even more obvious. Move Black Squadron 1, move Boba Fett 1, and now you can see our Boba Fett has clearly surpassed where our Black Squadron pilot is and has actually gotten quite a bit ahead of him. So why did this happen? Well, when you move a ship, you're not just transposing it this amount. If it was true transposition, the front of the ship would be the part of the ship that ends up at the end of this guide, right? So that's actually moving 1 unit. But because we're moving 1 unit plus the length of the ship itself, right, we're going from front to back, right? So that's where we're getting that extra one. We're actually moving 2 ship units forward every time we move any standard base ship 1. And if we follow that logic, if we have a ship with the base size of 2, whenever we actually move 1, we're actually moving 3, right? 1 plus 2 plus 3. So different size ships move at different speeds. And I think I saw somewhere on a message board that someone was complaining about a Millennium Falcon not being able to zip ahead 5 units all at a time. And I probably should have responded, but I didn't, because, well, you know, it's true that you're only covering, you know, you have 5 empty spaces between where your ship is starting and where it goes, but altogether you're actually moving 7 from where your previous position was. Whereas if they only move 4, you're moving 6, which is just like a smaller size ship moving 5. So the math actually works out all the same in terms of at least proximity to your opponent. So anyway, that's the first lesson about maneuvering with a big ship. Let me reconfigure here and we'll talk about turning with a big ship. Alright, so if you understood the banking and hard turning suggestions from flying in a tight squadron, most of the same rules apply to actually using a big ship, with really 2 major exceptions. So here are the exceptions. The first goes like this. If we are banking, let's pick a number, let's say 3, and we're going to the inside, in this case I mean the inside towards the smaller ship, if we both move them 3, this is still going to crash. And I'll show this, just demonstrate this, why this happens. I think it'll be pretty easy to see. Well, bam, right? Boba Fett crashes into your TIE fighter. Remember, Boba Fett moves faster than your TIE fighter, so you have to keep this in mind. Let me try to straighten those out. However, here's the, and you knew this, right? You knew if they both move 3, they crash, because that was sort of the rule when we're flying in a squadron. However, when we move to the outside, or the side with the big ship, something different happens. Let's try it this way. Let's move 3 with the black squadron pilot. And let's move 3 with Boba Fett. And voila, they both move 3 and no crashing. So how did that happen? Well, remember, we just went over, big ships move faster, right? They're actually making an extra length of movement in whatever direction they end up in. And because of that, when we move to the outside 3, you know, TIE fighter ends up here, Boba Fett actually zooms past him an extra ship length, and then we don't get any crashes. So when you are banking, you have to be very careful of, if you're using the same template, always go towards the big ship side, not the little ship side. And conversely, actually, when we have a big ship on the inside, here's the other exception to banking. We actually can't go 2 on the inside and 3 on the inside, right? Because Boba Fett's going to move a little bit faster, and then this TIE fighter is going to crash right into him, or vice versa, depending on the move order of pilot skill. Hard turns have a similar kind of exception. Let's first try hard turning 2, and have them both hard turn 2 to the right. And sure enough, you will see no crashing. Oops, need a ship. No crashing, beautiful, beautiful turn. However, when we go to the inside, and our TIE fighter moves 2, and Boba Fett moves 2, well bam, crash. So again, same thing, the big ships move faster, we can't have them essentially move in the direction of the smaller ship and expect it to all work out. So there's another problem here though, when we're looking at these. If I move, normally in flying in formation, we can move 1 with the inside, oops, and move 3 with the outside, right? Normally this works just fine. But here, and this just has to do with the fact that not so much that the ship goes faster, but just because the ship is occupying a much larger area of the board, we're more likely to crash and end up in it. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video, and I do suspect that some of the advanced X-Wing players out there found it to be a little bit basic and just, you know, these simple flying tips. But if you're just starting out, I hope that they're proving invaluable to your X-Wing game. The next video I'm going to be putting up is going to be all about pilot skill, and pilot skill matters a lot in this game. Come back to the next video and see why it's so incredibly important to have high pilot skill.